So today we're going to go into Adobe Fresco and explore some of the user interface. I just updated my app and signed in, so this is how it appears for me. If you have never signed in before, it will prompt you to either log into an Adobe account or create one, but this is what it looks like when I open up the app. So Adobe Fresco is super cool in that they give a lot of support and education in terms of tutorials, links to artists' work, inspiration, all that good stuff. You can select if you're new to drawing, new to digital tools, new to the app itself, or comfortable with Adobe apps. You can kind of select based on your personal preference and all that good stuff. I'm just going to select new to Fresco, so it'll give you tutorials on some of their specific tools. Next, sneak peek of what you can do, and it gives you just a broad overview of Hi, so this is what my Adobe Fresco looks like when it opens up. If you are new to the app, it may prompt you to create a username or to log into an existing Adobe account. It's free. You can just sign up with your Google and log in with your Gmail, whatever. But this is what mine looks like. So over here on the left-hand side, we have Home, which is where you have all of your documents that are stored. There's a little new and upcoming features button where it'll show you kind of what's coming. You have the Learn tab with some tutorials in the app, but also on YouTube, which is cool. So you can get a little bit more in-depth and longer tutorials. Brushes, layers, selections, masking, the touch shortcut, drawing aids, motion, all of those good things. And the app itself will guide you and take you around. You can also search at the top. There's a search bar if there's something specific or a tool that you're looking for. For the YouTube tutorials, it takes you into YouTube and it will show you work from specific artists and kind of like masterclass walkthrough ideas with professionals. And there's a ton that you can do there. Lots of different styles of art, which I kind of love, and all kinds of inspiration that you can get for motion, for faces, for drawing help, for technical tools and good stuff. And then of course there's links to their online pages. But in terms of your own files, everything that you store will be here. Right now I don't have anything in there, but you can sort it by folder, all that good stuff shared with you, deleted, whatever. So I'm going to create a new file. You may want to be careful with your resolution. So we have saved, if you save sizes, things for digital. Things for digital are not going to have a very high, what we call PPI, pixels per inch, because you're not worried about printing it. It's just going to live on a screen. That's fine if you're sharing it on social media, if it's going to live on a website, things like that. But if you do want this to be acceptable for print, we have all these different options, and it lists underneath what that resolution is. So 600 is nice and high, and you'll get a lot of crispness and resolution. 300 is good for printing, is perfectly fine. And then it has whatever sizes you want underneath. I'm just going to start with digital because I'm going to do something that's motion. So I'm not going to be printing it. It's an animation. I'm just going to select square, and we create a document. So it tells me right away that it's saving my work to the Adobe Creative Cloud account, and it will be available across all of your devices. Super cool. If I get a new iPad and I log into it and I open up the Fresco app, I will have my files available to me. This is awesome. Very useful later on. Okay. So I'm just pinching to resize my canvas a little bit. This portion in the center here is our working space. X marks the spot. You will notice that the X just showed up on the right-hand side on a new layer. So if you've ever been to a restaurant that has glass over the table, if I bring my 2-year-old out to dinner and he spills his apple juice, it only spills on the glass. It does not spill on the table underneath. That is really useful and can be very helpful in terms of adding color layers, highlights, shadow layers, line work, and it's going to be very useful later on for our animations. In terms of hiding or showing, on the top right-hand side, we have something that looks like little squares stacked on top of each other. Those are your layers. You can add new layers with the little plus button. If you tap on it, you can merge them down. but you get all kinds of options. You could delete it, you could hide the other ones, you could add more, you could duplicate. Duplicate's going to be useful too. And then we can do masking, which we'll talk about later on. I'm just going to delete this layer because I don't need it. Honestly, I don't really need this one either, but I certainly don't need the X anymore, so I can just clear that. On the left-hand side, we have our tools. So over here, we have our pixel brushes. You have different options, which are fabulous. Pixel brushes just means when you zoom in, you're going to see the squares of color. You have different opacities, if it's like a hard brush or see-through, if it has soft edges, you have different options here. If we go back to basics, you have inking brushes with different textures and stuff, which is really cool. You have mixer brushes where you can mix colors, which is kind of fun. Monet mixer, sounds like fun. Haven't tried that one. But so you can kind of explore and see what it is that you like. Different sketching ones, as if it's different pencils. But you can get a lot of really cool different options here. So the next tab down is called Live Brushes. I just tapped twice to show it. If you notice that each of these paintbrush tools has a little triangle in the corner, that means there's more than one tool stacked underneath. So if you tap on it again, it'll show up and give you those options. A live brush is pretty cool because there's an element of like change and movement to it. So you have these watercolor options and it actually looks as though it spreads out, which is kind of fabulous. But you have some different ones there. You also down here on the left-hand side can paint inside the lines. You have other options there. You can click on the little brush settings option to change the shape dynamics, the spacing, the scatter. And if you look, you can really alter so much and customize, you know, in whatever way you want. So don't think that however it comes out is the only way it can be. It's not true. If you tap on this, we can change the flow. So if we take the flow down, it spreads a little slower, which is kind of cool, but it really does, like it spreads, which is kind of great. I'm just going to put it back to 100 for now. You can change the size. If you tap into the circle here, we get to the color wheel. If you do the HSB sliders, if you're more comfortable, you know, with a slider, I kind of prefer a wheel personally, but that, I mean, whatever. It's completely up to you and your preferences. You get a cute little pink color, whatever. These are the live brushes, kind of fun. Oil brushes are similar, all the fun of oil paints without having to deal with turpentine, which is pretty cool. But if you see, the pink is picking up some of the black as it drags across it, so that's pretty cool. If I start on top of the watercolor, it's not going to paint outside because those edges are hardened. But if I start underneath, if I start off to the side, it goes underneath and picks up the color. So pretty cool. And you can experiment with this. And obviously this is not like a beautiful masterpiece that I'm creating, but we're testing out some of these options. Next one down is called our vector brushes. Tapping it twice to get them to pull up. Similarly, you can see this is kind of cool. We have outline options. So if I click on light outline, you can draw. This would be really cool if you're doing like neon effects or something like that. If you go back to the outline, there's manga. There's one with a jitter, so like kind of an offset like that. And there is, you know, just your basic options as well. Velocity, taper, which might be kind of fun for inking. What is a vector brush? Vector is like a motion path. It corrects it to be mathematically perfect. So it is not pixel based. If you zoom in, you're still going to see that nice crisp line. If you explode it and expand it and make it giant, you're still going to see that nice crisp line. Because it is math based and not pixel based, right? It's going to end up being, it's been a long time since I tried to do parabolas, but 2x plus x minus 3, right? Instead of, oh God, I don't know what direction that is, but pretend it's like that. Do you know what I'm talking about? If you guys took, anyway, math flashbacks. It's not going to blend your colors because that's a pixel thing. So if you're looking to blend colors, stick to your pixel brushes. If you want to do crisper lines or more smoothed, perfect, corrected lines, go into your vector brushes. And the same thing, you can do your brush settings down here and mess with some of that. Velocity dynamics, pressure dynamics. I like pressure dynamics because then you can kind of taper out the lines as you want to control it with the stylus pressure, but Again, that is all personal preference and you can set it. Next one down is an eraser. If you tap it, you have different shapes for erasers. You have the smudge tool. If you tap it again, you can smudge with a different brush. Again, this is for pixel-based things. If I smudge any of, oh, I didn't do a pixel-based thing. I just did my live effects. If I do, we'll just do a regular hard round brush. Hard round brush, say that 10 times fast. See how you can smudge out the edges. You can pick different brushes to smudge with. Here's your move tool. You can free transform, you can liquefy. If I liquefy, I actually really like doing that. You can kind of make it as if it was wet paint and you were dragging it around. Actually, that's kind of fun. And there's different options here. Warp, reconstruct, smooth, twirl, pucker, bloat, push left, and you can again change the size of that. The number of pixels, of course, that we're working with. Brush settings, density, pressure. Every part of this can be customized, which is great. I'm committing to it. We're leaving it like that. This is how this is going to go. You can transform it. You can distort it. Again, why aren't those two lines working? Because we're only working with this one layer, the second layer down. So that is all that it is affecting. And the vector brushes automatically go in their own layer. Distort and skew can be really useful if you're trying to work in perspective. Then you can make adjustments really quickly. Okay, great. And then at the top right-hand corner, I can hit done, but I can mirror, I can rotate, I can do all kinds of crazy things. Done. The lasso tool. So lasso, magic wand, paint selection, all those good things allow you to select either by color, an area that you kind of map out and choose. Magic wand selects based on color and pixel and shape. Lasso, you can kind of draw out and select a certain area. If you see that line, now I can move. I'm just moving a portion of that. Done. This looks crazy, by the way. If you decide, so the little dancing ants are the lines that go around the outside. If you decide that's not what you want, you just hit deselect and you can get rid of that selection. So now our move tool moves the entire page again, the entire layer again, rather than just that one portion. Hit done to get out of there. The paint bucket works exactly the way you think a paint bucket works. It fills the whole area. If you want to fill only a specific area, make sure it's enclosed. Otherwise, it'll fill the whole layer, and that's really annoying. But you can undo it, right? The undo button is right at the top of the screen here, and you can redo. That is the best part of digital art. Down here, we have our shape tools, and a little pop-up comes up, which is fabulous. Basic shapes, looking for them. Long press the ruler icon to trace or fill circles, squares, and polygons. So we have kind of cool funky shapes over here on the left-hand side. Down at the lower right-hand side, we have a ruler, a circle, a square, polygons. You can select the number of sides if you want, like a triangle or a pentagon or whatever it is. The ruler, I'm using 2 fingers to grab the ruler and rotate it around the screen. You can get whatever kind of a line you want. And then you can draw, hang on. Boop. I'm still on the smudge tool, so let me grab a pixel-based tool. And then you can draw, hang on, where are we drawing? Adding a new layer. You can draw on the side there. If I want to go back to my ruler tool, I can hold down and I can get a little polygon of whatever shape and size. Placing that, and now I've outlined it. Next tool down is our text tool. If you want to, you can hold down, you can do horizontal type, a vertical type, you can add text that way. The eyedropper tool allows you to select a color that you previously have used. Sometimes also, if you want to import like a photo with the little photo option down below, you can use the eyedropper to select colors from a photo, so that's kind of fun. I like doing that for like color palette selection, so that's pretty cool. If I decide I don't want any of these anymore, I can just delete this layer, and this is just a basic introduction to some of the tools and options in Adobe Fresco. Next time we will get into the movement and motion options, which are down on the right-hand side. Motion in Fresco. You can do along a path, frame by frame, and if you don't want to do that now, we can do that later, which we will. Okay, great.